There have been several different variations of vampires throughout the years. First, we had the original Vlad the Impaler, and then we had Bram Stoker with Dracula, his novel, of course, and then there was there were all the variations of vampires going on. There was the 1922 version of Nosferatu. There's the himself, which means plague bearer, was it Count Orlok. There is the legendary version of what is his face, Bela Lugosi as Dracula. Christopher Lee, who in the Hammer version, hang on a second. That's of course from Hammer Studios, and then there's the Dracula Undead Loving It. There's the Twilight vampires, which I guess kind of gave it more that vampires needed another spin. And then lo and behold, I was also surprised to discover the Lost Boys from 1987. Color 97 minutes. Recently, widowed mother and her two teenage sons move into a new town, Santa Cruz, California, to be precise. They are transplants from Phoenix. There are several missing children around, and there's no It or Pennywise. Instead, it's just a bunch of like people are wondering what is going on here. Well, it turns out that there are certain folklorish creatures that are around who are causing some havoc, because we can see several wanted posters and even a child on a milk carton. Yes, a milk carton that actually gets that serves a bigger purpose than what was going on during the whole campaign back in the 1980s. But that's a story for another time. This was directed by Joel Schumacher, and it oozes style. Okay, first of all, I'm approaching this from a different style. Look at this. This looks like Gene Simmons' son. We got a guy who looks like, what is that? Billy Idol with a different hairstyle. And we got people who look like they're out of a hair metal band. Anyway, what makes this movie going on is its gothic style. The lighting. The cave sets themselves make this movie stylish. I mean, just in between the large prop room with everything where they hang out. I'm looking at this about 45 minutes in of these set pieces. It feels real and alive. This is the place where these vampires would hang out, you know. It's like, yeah, I could actually see this being a place where they take their victims and perform phlebotomy. Yeah. It's just, yeah, there's also the two Corys, Corey Helm and Corey Feldman. They play characters in this, and it's like you just look at them and like, yeah, these are kids are born to be. These were like teen heartthrobs of the 1980s because of all the various roles that they were in. You know, this is one of them that helped define who they are as it's like, hey, we are vampire hunters. We're the Frog Brothers. Frog, really? Edgar and Allan. Get it? Edgar Allan Poe? Uh-huh. Anyway, at least that's a reference. Yeah, this kind of gave the twist that the vampires needed. Because it was like, if part of it is based, the Lost Boys has to do with Peter Pan. It was like how Peter never really grew up. He was always like a child, despite growing up. Kind of just absconding children and taking them into Neverland. So let's just imagine if they were 200 years old. Like, what would happen if Peter did grow up, but instead we applied some of the more macabre aspects. That's what this film is. And yeah, it's a very interesting take on it. And it's and I just looked at it and I'm like, we are getting some good stuff right here. This is also during some other movies that I've seen deal with vampire. Fright Night is very similar. I have seen Fright Night, gosh darn good movie, and also Monster Squad. Wolfman gets kicked in the balls. Wolfman's got nards. Anyway, this is during that whole craze where it was fantastic, you know. And I'm just like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is definitely 80s 1980s is fine with a big giant carnival that's going on a pier. There's a video store. Boy, isn't that a rarity nowadays? But yeah, this overall fits the gothic overtones. And there's even the song that goes, "Thou shalt not build, thou shalt not build." It's like if the 69 Eyes or Glenn Danzig and the Misfits were to perform or something like that. I mean, this is like right up their alley. That's exactly what this is. This is like a punk rock gothic movie. And I really did enjoy every moment of it. They even explain where the vampires hang, which is the best part. There was an earthquake in L.A. in 1906 where there's this amazing opulent hotel, but they decided to build it on a fault line, and then this fault line collapsed, causing this hotel to crumble down to the ground, and that's where the vampires reside during the nighttime, or daytime, excuse me. And we actually do get some interesting lore about them, and that's what I appreciate. This movie gives me the appreciation that I want when I'm looking at a movie. So it's like, Joel Schumacher did a gosh darn good job of making this a very stylish, but there's also a good amount of horror in here. Because we get to see these creatures of the night, how they fly, how they just look with the intensity with the teeth and the contacts, and it's just like, gosh darn, this is good, you know? The flying, it's like, you know, but they're also kind of like having a I guess these aren't exactly gentlemanly vampires. They take more inspiration from the Christopher Lee style, just being billing machines, you know? And it's just like, wow. By the way, to the guy who recommended me Dead Alive, you like comedy horror? This one's right up your alley along with Motel Hell, so I do have to say that. You know, music is great, and the set pieces are fantastic. Overall tone is great. Of course, it's like, you know, it helped launch the careers of some people. It's just, jeez, oh, peace. The grandpa, who is played by Bernard Hughes, whoever that is, does a good job of just like being a character, because he gives his grandson stuffed animals, and I'm like, yeah, he's certainly being a character. Or he even drives this jalop that goes, you know, La Cucaracha. So there's a lot of elements that go on in here, but it all works out so darn well. Some noticeable scenes that I saw was that when Michael, who is interacting with the vampires, they all hang on this bridge, and he says, "Go ahead and drop and be one of us," and like, go right ahead. And it's like, they do. It was like a reverse Stand By Me scene with the train and the bridge. It was kind of like a reversal of that, so that was cool to see. The house, all the suspense and everything. It's like, this movie is as the Karen James, the New York Times, says, a hip comedic twist on a classic vampire story. So it's like, it's bringing everything I mentioned into the 1980s and giving it its own flair, if you will. There's even a reference to one of them who has like, yeah, we defeated the guy who looks like Twisted's sister. So it'll be one of the members, D or whoever else. So I don't know. I found that to be kind of cool. So, do I have any faults with this? Maybe the head vampire should have had he gets defeated via fire, and getting stabbed is like, you could have had at least, I don't know, it's like, I want 1 minute of him just squashing people, I guess. I don't know, in a fight, but instead we just get it in like, he gets taken out in 30 seconds. I'm like, huh? I don't know. That was like the only thing that I noticed that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I think that even the look and tone of this film probably even inspired the pro wrestling group, the Judgment Day, specifically Damian Priest. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. So, yeah, if you want to see a good, stylish movie with some substance and actual terrifying vampires that fits really well, but you can still view greatly nowadays, then I recommend that you watch The Lost